Happy January 31st. JLD here, and welcome to MicroStrategy Today. In this show, we talk about Michael Saylor being on the cover of Forbes. Amazing stuff. We talk more about accretion versus dilution. It's so critical that we have a great understanding about that, and I found a great post for you. Ben Workman breaks down Strike, that is MicroStrategy's preferred stock offering, both in a post, and then I have a great video clip of him talking even more about it. Remember, this video is not financial advice, and I would love and appreciate your comments below on where you're watching from, what you like about this video, what you don't like about this video. I read every comment. I love all the feedback. So let's dive on in. All right, Nina is saying, hey, in December, I made a couple of trips to Miami to sit down with Michael Saylor and dissect the MSTR phenomenon, a 60x plus valuation surge in 4 years, tens of billions raised through equity and zero interest bonds, and volatility so high, bond traders are apparently feeling like they are in a crypto casino, plus an army of fans, skeptics, and more importantly, imitators. The bull case. Volatility is the product. But what does that actually mean? And the counter argument of just buy an ETF. How does Saylor square all this with a career that once pitted him against Microsoft? Here's the story right there on Forbes. Many thanks to everyone who shared their insights, even if you didn't make it in, especially to DGT10011 for helping connect the dots and add depth to the story. And there he is, Michael Saylor, the Bitcoin Alchemist on Forbes. Let's go. Bitcoin Overflow shares MicroStrategy's STRK starts trading Friday, which is today. This post was from yesterday. So he said, today is the last day to indicate interest for those who want to buy the IPO. Unlike ATM and CBs, STRK will result in zero upfront dilution or sell pressure on MSTR. I expect it to get significantly upsized from the planned $250 million. So again, this is what Bitcoin Overflow posted yesterday when it comes to STRK that starts trading today. So we'll see what happens when the market opens. Very interesting. I will be definitely taking notes. Let's move along to a great post from Adam Livingston. MSTR selling shares is dilutive, he says with a couple warning signs. No, it isn't, you dang clowns. Let me explain Bitcoin yield so even your Keynesian infected brain can comprehend. Every MSTR share sale is a sacrifice to the Bitcoin gods. It's not dilution. We aren't raising cash to fund negative yielding bonds or burning it on buybacks like some fiat trash corporation. We are converting air, which is USD, into the hardest asset known to man, BTC. BTC yield ensures each share holds more Bitcoin per unit over time. More Bitcoin per share equals more upside. More upside equals more NGU, number go up. It's hyper efficient leverage on Bitcoin without margin calls. It's a 200 IQ trade only Saylor could devise. The plebes screaming dilution don't understand that fiat dilution is terminal. MSTR isn't playing that game. We are vampire attacking fiat markets, draining them of liquidity and stuffing it into the Bitcoin black hole where it can never be printed away. Every MSTR offering is accretive because it increases BTC per share in a manner that compounds over time. Fiat shareholders are merely exit liquidity for Bitcoin maximalists in this trade. Keep coping and seething while MSTR becomes the most valuable company on the planet and you miss out on the greatest trade of the century. Now listen, Adam, he's very bullish. I agree with every word he said. Another Adam post, because I'm just loving these. MicroStrategy getting a banking license is going to have seismic implications for the market value of MSTR. MicroStrategy's MNAV stands poised for significant expansion thanks to SEC's repeal of SOB 121. Now imagine the multiplier effect if MicroStrategy, which already operates as a de facto leveraged Bitcoin ETF with strategic business operations on the side, were to pursue a banking license. This move would transform its treasury strategy into a more dynamic and profitable financial ecosystem. By leveraging its Bitcoin reserves as collateral, MicroStrategy could establish itself as a lender of last resort in the emerging crypto economy, offering Bitcoin-backed loans, custody services, and other financial products. Such a move would essentially shift its revenue model from a traditional SaaS model to one that combines fintech innovation with Bitcoin's explosive growth potential. The convergence of these factors, accurate Bitcoin valuation on the balance sheet, the expansion of its revenue streams into financial services, and the regulatory legitimacy a banking license would confer, would dramatically enhance MicroStrategy's MNAV. This shift would likely result in a virtuous cycle of higher investor confidence, a lower cost of capital, and an accelerated growth trajectory for the company. In essence, repealing SOB 121 and obtaining a banking license would unlock a new dimension for MicroStrategy, where it is no longer just a Bitcoin proxy, but a cornerstone institution in the financial revolution Bitcoin is driving. The resulting MNAV expansion wouldn't just be incremental, it could be exponential as MicroStrategy evolves into an entity that bridges the gap between traditional finance and the decentralized future. The market wouldn't merely reprice the company, it would reimagine it. Again, Adam, super bullish. Love all these words. I want to move on to Ben Workman's post about Strike. So, MSTR initial preferred stock thoughts from Ben. Trigger warning, long post. And I'm going to put this entire post into the show notes so you can read it at your leisure if you haven't already. But just scrolling down, you can see how long it is. It's very intense. It's unbelievable. I highly recommend it. I'm just going to read this one part and then flip to a video from Ben as he goes over this in audio detail, not reading this, but just giving his thoughts on this. The basics. The initial offering is for $250 million and will be comprised of 2.5 million preferred shares under the ticker STRK. This is most likely to feel out the initial market demand for this offering, and I will not be surprised if the offering is larger once the initial interest has been registered. The initial offering price, quote unquote, liquidation value, is set at $100 for this offering, and the offering is available to retain investors as well as institutions, funds, etc. Each preferred share of stock is convertible into 1/10 of a share of Class A common stock. This effectively creates a quote unquote strike price on the offering at $1,000. Now, of course, there's a lot more in this post. I'm not going to get into it now. You can read this at your leisure, but we are going to flip over to Ben as he explains this on video in more depth. So, Ben, take it away.
It's a $250 million offering. The pricing on the offering is $100 a share. It's called the liquidation value. So, new term that we all get to learn. But so the liquidation value on those shares is $100. So there's 2.5 million shares that are going to be getting issued out into the market if the offering stays as is. The conversion of those into common stock, which is what made it confusing for a lot of people to find out, where does this rank in terms of a premium? What premium are they collecting above and beyond the common stock? It's 1/10 of a share per share of preferred. So when you're trying to figure out what premium are they collecting capital at with this offering, you basically just have to walk down through the math, starting at, you got 250 million shares or $250 million. And then you got to figure out how many common shares does that equate to based on that 1/10 of a common share conversion. So essentially it's just the number of shares divided by 10, right? So 250,000 shares are what's attributed to this initial offering if you were converting it to common stock. So that basically puts it at $1,000 a share in common stock terms is what that strike price is. So when you're looking at premium, that's just under a 200% premium. So massive premium. Keep in mind that the biggest premium that we saw with the convertible stock was 55%, right? So this at face value initially is massively accretive, right? Just from the initial transaction, it's massively accretive.
It was valued at like 1x revenue plus cash. And I said, well, I have 500 million in cash. Why don't we get more credit? And the answer is cash is trash. Like it's Ray Dalio's quote, cash is trash. Well, why is cash trash? Well, if the money supply is expanding at 7% a year, then the risk-free hurdle rate is 7%. If you don't generate more than 7% yield on your cash, then it's devaluing. So from 2010 to 2020, the money supply expanded at 7%. So all the cash you're holding is losing 7% of its value Assume you have a 0% interest rate or zero yield on the cash. So you can imagine the traditional world, you invest your cash at 3% treasury yields and you get a -7 and it's like a -4% and divide 4 into 72. And, and somewhere 15, 20 years out, you're going to lose half of the shareholder value in the treasury. If you do that, people might hold their nose. But after March of 2000, the money supply is expanding at 24%, the interest rate's 0. So now you have to put a forecast in place. At what rate will the money supply expand? If it expands at 20% a year and you're going to generate 0 in treasury yield, then you're looking at cutting your treasury purchasing power in half in 3.5 years.
Whoa.
Okay, now that's not trivial. So you have to find a way if you're gonna have assets to get over the hurdle rate. Another way to say it is, I have to invest it in a strategy which is going to appreciate faster than the money is devalued.
And there you have it, another episode of MicroStrategy Today. This video is not financial advice. And please comment below if you got value from this video. It would mean so much. Let me know where you're watching from, any thoughts or feedback. Hit the like button if you're in too much of a rush, but do both if you can. And here's my receipt from yesterday's $210 DCA into MicroStrategy, which I'll be doing every trading day of the year at 10 a.m. Eastern at a price of $351. I bought $210.78 of MSTR, again, which I'll be doing every trading day of 2025. Every Saturday, I will share the entire DCA portfolio. And until then, have a great Friday. And remember, there is no second best.
What's the second best? There is no second best.